antique wedges to go behind the chain plates because where it comes out from the cap rail, the chain plate sticks out a little bit, and you need to keep them out of the cap rail so they don't interfere with the jib track. So I've started cutting these little wedges. These pieces go behind the chain plate, just where it penetrates the rub rail. So it comes out of the rub rail, and then it has to lay. There's an air gap. There's a gap between the sides of the trail boards that go down the boat, down the side, and I'm trying to take a piece of wood that's straight and cut it at an angle. So what I've been doing is, I was going to make a jig. I have a tapered jig that I used when I was building spear guns, but it's just not going to work with this kind of thing. So what I did was take a small piece, the thickness of the wedge that I need, and each wedge is actually different. One of them is a 1/2 inch, a couple of them are 3/8 inch thick, and got a couple that are a 1/4 inch thick. So I got to cut a 1/4 inch wedge. So I take a 1/4 inch piece of wood here, and then I've been hot gluing it to the end of the board, so that when it rides along the fence, when it rides along the saw fence, it cuts an angle on it. Hot glue is good because it's temporary. I can peel it off with no ill effects. Ready to cut. So basically everything tapers to 0. See, each one of these little wedges is basically almost 0 thickness right there, but each one is individually sized to hold the chain plate out from the tow rail. And now I've got a perfectly shaped wedge. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick, which is what I needed to hold the chain plate off the bulwarks. So those wood wedges I made, I just finished, this one's glued in place, and I just use Titebond 3 just to glue it in place. It's just a spacer, more or less, to keep this thing from compressing on the inside. So this thing fits in here, and the bolt holes go down right about there. This is where this chain plate is going to sit.
The track car will go past that?
Yeah, the car will slide past it, and once this is all bolted in place, this will sit nice and snug up against the right here, up against the tow rail, the rounded tow rail. We got to do a little bending on the bar, and
see that.
Yeah, it's a couple of blocks of wood, and just beat on it ever so slightly with a sledgehammer, and that'll bend it down to the curve of the hull, and then I'll start drilling the hole. But for now, I'm going to move to the next side and glue in that wedge that goes on that side. As you can probably imagine, I'm pretty nervous about drilling holes in the side of the boat right now, but I think I got everything lined up. I'm going to do a quick double check and check the chain plates to be square and parallel to the tow rail. These ones here, silicon bronze 3/8 carriage bolts. I got them from boltdepot.com, but you can also get them from Fastenal. So over here on the starboard side of the boat, I've already got the bolts installed. They're drilled. I still need to cut the backing plates, the G10 fiberglass that I'm going to use as a backer, and I'm going to glass that into the lockers inside, behind each chain plate actually. These all drilled through really nice. It looks like the hull, I stuck a piece of wire through the hole and measured it, and it looks like up here at the rub rail, the hull is about, good grief, about 5/8 of an inch thick. And as you get down to here, at the bottom bolt, it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. And I've never had to replace a through hole, but my assumption is that the hull just keeps getting thicker and thicker and thicker as it goes down towards the keel. This boat is really heavily laid up. Suki came out to say hi, and she's walking around up there. And I'm going to finish drilling things out, and then I'll take you inside and show you the G10 backing plates that I got to do. So we're back inside the boat. I'm in the starboard side hanging locker, where the forward lower shroud attaches to the chain plate that drills through these holes right here. I've got to scrape all the puffy wallpaper stuff that they line the insides of the lockers with, so that I can install the G10 1/2-inch fiberglass backing plates and give me some good glass to lay to. I need nice, bare, clean glass. Got to scuff it up and epoxy it to the hull and lay in a couple layers of cloth in addition to that. So let's make some noise. Let's just say I got to do this 5 more times, port and starboard. This puffy diamond stuff that they put pretty much everywhere. But I just need to get it down to bare glass for these 1, 2, 3, and then you can't see it right there. There's a 4th one right up there where the hull to deck joint is. So rather than bore you to death with all the sanding and scraping and grinding and glassing, I thought I'd take a break and show you what the FedEx man brought me today. New Hain High Mod compression studs. By moving the chain plates outboard, we basically effectively shortened the rig length by raising the pin height up above the tow rail, and we're going to have to cut off the old swage terminal fittings, the old swage studs that hold the standing rig up. So in the meantime, in order to keep the rig standing with the new chain plates, I went ahead and ordered these studs, and these go up inside the turnbuckles, actually this way. And the thing I like about the high mod fittings is that you take them apart, it's got a little cone, you lay out the wire, and there's somewhere in here, there's a former. And what happens is we've got 1x19 stainless steel wire rigging, and what you do is you unwrap the wire in the direction that it was laid during manufacture, and you insert this little cone over the middle sections, and then on the outside section you put this little wire former in, and each one of those, oops, there it is, each one of those little strands lays into the notch of the bronze former. So with the wire formers, you can take them apart, you can reuse the cone, and you can reuse the former, the lay fitting. And the thing I like about these over the other ones, I think Staylock and Norseman, once those cones have been compressed into the shape of the wire, if you take it apart to inspect the rig, you're ultimately going to have to replace this probably little $14 cone. And the thing about the high mods is that they're 100% inspectable, they're 100% reusable, which on a tight budget is pretty good for us. Once I get the chain plates bolted up, I'll show you a video of cutting wire and installing the terminal fittings. I'm really looking forward to getting these things installed, but now I got to get back to the chain plates and get those backing plates installed. Anyway, a little sidebar. So I'm working on the port side now and scraping away the wallpaper bullshit. For some reason, the bulkhead doesn't line up. The bulkhead wall right here from starboard to port is not perfectly square with where the chain plates are located to the center line of the mast. I measured off the center line of the mast 27 inches for the forward lower shrouds. That one I got plenty of room. This one here, it's right at where the bulkhead wall was glassed into the side of the hull. I'm doping up these G10 backing plates and smearing on some thickened epoxy.
How thick is the G10?
Half inch.
And you cut little grooves in it so it would bend a little bit?
Yeah, I had to kerf the backside so that it follows the curvature of the hull.
So this is the one from yesterday. And I think you finished it today. It's in the forward hanging, one of the forward hanging lockers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, basically I'm just glassing the, gluing the G10 to the hull. I'm gonna put some cloth over top of this, and so I'll mix up some thin resin, put in a couple of strips of 4-inch glass tape, and then I'll tape that in, and then.
I think that was dead.
So I'm trying to squirt some of this sealant back behind to get behind the chain plate and in the hole where the bolt goes.
What kind of glue are you using?
3M Marine 4000.
Black.
Black. Alright, all the bolts are tightened up on the outside, on the starboard side, and nut and washered on the inside here against the G10 backing plate. I'm going to chop off the extra length of the H-bronze bolt where it sticks into the hanging locker. One down, 5 to go.